Have you ever watched someone hurt a child just to prove a point, then act like they were the victim? I have. That child was my daughter, and the woman who did it thought she ruled our neighborhood. I'm a judge by trade, but in that moment, I was just a father who made one call that turned her world upside down. My name is Henry Larson, and this is the story of how a sunny Saturday picnic became a battle for justice. I've lived in Willow Grove, a tidy suburban enclave with manicured lawns and white picket fences, for 6 years. Most neighbors know me as the guy who mows his yard every Sunday, nods at the mail carrier, and stays quiet at HOA meetings. That's how I prefer it. What they don't know is that I've been a federal judge for 25 years. My wife, Ellen, and I moved here for our daughter, Sophie, who's 12 and deaf. Sophie's our light, gentle soul who paints the world in colors we didn't know existed. She was born deaf, and by 6 months, we knew. It was daunting, but Sophie taught us how to listen with our eyes and speak with our hands. At 10, she won a statewide art contest, handing me her ribbon with a signed message. "You showed me how." That memory's etched in my heart. Willow Grove seemed perfect for Sophie, safe, quiet, orderly. But we didn't account for Margaret Hensley, the HOA president. Margaret wasn't just particular. She was a tyrant in pearls, ruling with a laminated rulebook and a smile that never reached her eyes. She'd nitpick everything. The height of our shrubs, the shade of our mailbox, even Sophie's chalk drawings on our driveway, which she called clutter. Ellen brushed it off, saying Margaret was just lonely. But I saw the contempt in her eyes whenever Sophie passed by, like my daughter's silence was a personal affront. We tried to keep the peace, teaching Sophie to ignore it. Some people don't understand. I signed to her. She'd smile and sign back, their loss. Stronger than most adults, that girl. Margaret was a force. She'd stride through Willow Grove in crisp blouses and designer flats, her voice syrupy but sharp, like a teacher scolding a child. The day we moved in, she handed us a 40-page HOA manual, her creation, color-coded and updated monthly. We complied, mowed on schedule, repainted our mailbox, hid our trash cans by 9 a.m. It was never enough. She'd complain about Sophie's gaudy chalk art or the unapproved birdhouse Ellen hung. When we explained Sophie's deafness, Margaret sighed. We all have challenges. Rules are rules. It was clear she saw Sophie as a flaw in her perfect canvas. She'd make snide remarks, leave notes in our mailbox, and even tried to ban unattended minors from events, targeting Sophie. Neighbors stayed quiet, afraid of her fines and influence. I thought silence was safer than confrontation. I was wrong. That Saturday, Willow Grove's annual HOA picnic promised a perfect day. Blue skies, a soft breeze, the park buzzing with laughter, grills sizzling, and lemonade flowing. Ellen packed sandwiches and peach cobbler. I hauled a table and blanket. Sophie clutched her sketchbook, her eyes bright. She set up her easel under an oak, sketching the scene. Kids chasing frisbees, a dog sniffing pies, a boy with a kite. Her art spoke what her voice couldn't. Ellen mingled. I set up chairs, and for a moment, we felt part of something good. Then Ellen grabbed my arm, her face pale. "Henry, Margaret's heading for Sophie." I turned to see Margaret storming across the lawn, heels stabbing the grass, a paper plate in one hand, a metal fork in the other, odd, since every table had plastic utensils. She shouted Sophie's name. Sophie, lost in her drawing, didn't respond. Margaret shouted again, then leaned in and drove the fork into Sophie's arm. Time froze. Sophie's face crumpled, a silent cry escaping as blood stained her daisy dress. Her pastels fell, smearing her sketch. Ellen screamed. I ran. Sophie was on the grass, trembling, blood on her hands. Margaret stood over her, unapologetic. I called her, she snapped. She ignored me. Kids need to respect adults. I knelt beside Sophie, my voice shaking. She's deaf, Margaret. You stabbed a deaf child. She rolled her eyes. Then she shouldn't be here alone. She's a hazard. Ellen, pressing napkins to Sophie's arm, shouted, You attacked our daughter. A crowd gathered, phones recording. Margaret crossed her arms. It's just a fork. You're overreacting. My hands were steady, my voice ice. I dialed Sheriff Tom Reynolds. Tom, I need a unit at Willow Grove Park. Aggravated assault on a minor. The suspect's HOA president, Margaret Hensley. Process her today. He replied, I'm coming. 15 minutes later, 2 cruisers arrived. Tom, calm and professional, approached Margaret. She smiled, playing innocent. "Sheriff, this is a misunderstanding." He cut her off. "You're under arrest for felony assault of a minor." Gasps spread. "You used a fork to injure a child," Tom said. "That's assault with a dangerous object." Margaret's facade cracked. "This is his doing," she spat, pointing at me. Tom's reply was loud. "You picked the wrong kid to hurt." As deputies cuffed her, phones kept filming. Someone clapped. A woman muttered, "About time." Margaret's smugness faded as they led her away. I held Sophie, who signed, "Am I in trouble?" I signed back, "No, sweetheart. You did nothing wrong." But I had. I'd let her live under Margaret's shadow, thinking quiet was safe. Never again. The picnic dissolved into chaos. We rushed Sophie to urgent care. 2 stitches, a tetanus shot, and a stuffed bunny from a nurse. She didn't cry, just signed "Why?" over and over. That night, I stood outside her room, guilt burning. I'd seen evil in courtrooms, but never this close. I wanted justice, not just for Sophie, but for every family Margaret had bullied. By morning, I was done hiding. I called contacts, prosecutors, clerks, even a state rep who owed me. I wasn't pulling strings for revenge, I wanted the truth exposed. Tom filed charges: assault on a minor, battery with a weapon, and a civil rights violation under the ADA. That last one was my idea. I called an emergency HOA meeting. The board, stunned to learn I was a judge, listened as I presented witness accounts, Sophie's medical report, and videos. "The charter allows removing a president for extreme acts," I said. "Assaulting a child is criminal." They voted unanimously to oust Margaret. A reporter called days later. "Ellen urged me to speak. She's hurt too many. People need to know." I did, as a father, not a judge. The story aired. HOA president arrested for stabbing deaf child. It showed Margaret in cuffs, Sophie's bloodied art, and my words. No child should fear their neighborhood. The response was overwhelming. Families shared stories of Margaret's tyranny, fines for wrong curtains, threats over kids' toys. An audit revealed she'd misused HOA funds for years. Willow Grove began to change. Neighbors brought cards, meals, even apologies for staying silent. Sophie's courage grew. At her trial, she wore a navy dress and brought a painting of a girl under a tree, sketching stars. She signed her testimony, steady and clear. I felt pain, confusion, shame, like I was wrong for being me. The jury convicted Margaret on all counts. She got 18 months in jail, 2 years probation, damages to us, and a forced apology read at an HOA meeting. It was cold, but Sophie folded it into her sketchbook. "I want to remember," she signed. "She won't forget me." The story spread nationally. Disability groups thanked Sophie. She spoke at a college event, earning a standing ovation. Willow Grove adopted inclusive rules and bias training. Sophie kept painting, unafraid. One Sunday, she asked to return to the park to finish her picnic sketch. Under that oak, she drew joy. Kids, laughter, golden trees. A girl gave her a cookie, saying, "I love your pictures." Ellen whispered, "This is closure." I nodded. Justice wasn't just Margaret's punishment, it was this new beginning. What would you have done in my shoes? If you've faced injustice or seen someone hurt for being different, share your thoughts below. Should violence like this ever be excused? Where do you stand? Your voice matters, let's talk.